What's up, Roy? What's going on?
Yo, 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 chilling like a villain. That Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's about it.
Sweet. So RIB, show number 3.
Yes, sir. Show number 3. What are we talking about today?
Our ingredient we're cooking with today is nicknames.
Nicknames. Okay. Nicknames, like famous nicknames of
Famous nicknames. So nickname. I've never had a nickname. People try to give me nicknames. I think nicknames are one of these things that people need to give you. I don't think you should nickname yourself necessarily. You've got a nickname.
Yeah, Big Roy. That was given to me by Rennell Brooks Moon, the voice of the San Francisco Giants, and my coworker when I used to work at 98.1 Kiss FM. Only because I was taller than her and bigger in stature compared to her, hence the name Big Roy.
Right. I think they tried to start you off with Young Roy.
Yes, the intern, Young Roy the intern, and then somehow just kind of more.
But then what happens? It doesn't really work. Like Young MC can't. I mean, he's in his 50s or something, so he's like, it doesn't. It's young.
Yeah,
he's young. He's not really young anymore. So
right. So Big Roy just kind of after a certain, I think after my internship, and I became an employee. The Big.
You made the big time, and then then became Big.
Young was dropped, Big was included. So I like the Big.
Right. And I think that's great. And I love Rennell, and we grew up listening to her on the radio, and everything was awesome. So that's a great nickname that was given to you that totally works. I'll call you Big Roy. I've known you before, you Big Roy, but I'll still call you Big Roy. And it's great. I've never had a nickname. I've given people nicknames. Those have stuck. For whatever reason, I've never had a nickname. But there are a lot of great nicknames out there to be had. Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Okay. So nicknames now, do they have to be like names, or they can be like nickname phrases? Like
it can be a moniker. It can be a nom de plume. Okay. It can be
a number of different names. Now, see, where I didn't go was rappers. Like rappers have totally different names. I just my list. I didn't have too many rappers, only because the nickname had to at least kind of mean something. I'm pretty sure most of these rappers' names, have some kind of meaning, but
right. Not a lot of them are using their real names.
Right.
So I'm glad you actually brought this up, because not that I like to be a stickler, but I have some things I'm like, okay, well, I didn't do these things. So, for example, I didn't choose nicknames with ice because you've got iced tea, you've got Ice Cube, you've got Vanilla Ice, I didn't no ice. You will see, ice is not making an appearance in my nicknames, at least. So that's just me. Okay, also, no sugars. So sugar-free. There's no Sugar Ray Robinson, no Sugar Ray Leonard, no Sugar Shane Mosley.
Okay, so the little Lil apostrophe, Lil Wayne.
I know Lil's didn't make my list, but that's not it. And no doctors, no Dr. J, no Dr. Dre.
What? No Dr. J.
Well, I mean, not on my list. I'm saying my list. No, you can go Dr. J if you went Dr. J. That's fine. Right. I'm not. Okay. I'm just saying for my list, because I don't know. I like to challenge myself.
You just don't like hospitals, that's all.
You just don't like Spider-Man.
So, all right. So I'm going to get started with my first nickname. Now, this is interesting because this is actually from a movie. Okay, this character name has a nickname. It comes from the Rocky series, talking about the nickname of Apollo Creed. Nice. And he went by the nickname of the Master of Disaster. I just like how that flows. And as a boxer, if there was a real boxer with that actual nickname, I was like, man, that's awesome, dude. The Master of Disaster. And that would probably be like a rap group right there too, but the Masters of Disaster. But now that would be my first, only because it flows off the tongue, it flows off the mouth. It's very
fun to say.
Rhyme. Yeah, the rhyme is there, and with a boxer being a guy that ensues punishment, a type of disaster. The Master of Disaster is a pretty cool nickname. So I'm going with
Boxers
Master of
tend to
the
have some pretty good nicknames. Like
Yes.
even come on, the Italian Stallion that rolls off the tongue too, from the same movie. The Italian Stallion, Master of Disaster.
Rocco.
Am I killing your list there?
The Rocco. No.
So yeah, boxers, sports figures in general have pretty good nicknames. And when I was looking at the people you know, it's usually those people. So my first one, Roy, do you know who Terrell Deshaun Smart is?
Who is it again?
Terrell Deshaun Smart.
No.
But do you know who He Hate Me is?
Oh, yes, of course I do. Yeah.
Right.
There you
So
go.
in the XFL,
Yeah.
the Extreme Football League, which tried to make a comeback this year and everything got shut down. It was a joint venture between the WWE, Vince McMahon, and I believe it was, Dick Ebersol from NBC. So they wanted to do this thing, and they wanted to have like WWF kind of antics, and players were okay to date the cheerleaders and have nicknames and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the only nickname that was any good that was, that people knew. So He Hate Me on his jersey, full thing. There were he played for the Las Vegas Outlaws, and they were players on other teams were like, I hate him, or I hate he, I hate he too. And it just didn't work. And He Hate Me was a great nickname. I didn't know his name was. I knew it was like Rod Smart was his name, but Terrell.
That's what I remember. Rod Smart.
Rod Smart. But even then, his name was Terrell Deshaun Smart. I had no idea. I know who He Hate Me is. And in fact, I was reading a little bit about it. They're saying that his agent was like, because he was so recognizable, that actually helped him transition to the NFL, and he actually had a career. He was like a kick returner, and he did some rushing capacity, but he played mostly for the Carolina Panthers organization, and he had a career, and He Hated Me. So nicknames, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how you only know him by He Hate Me rather than his actual name.
Real name, yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, He Hate Me, nice. All right, so my next one is shifting now from an actual real football league, the NFL. A guy that played for the Kansas City Chiefs in the, late 80s, maybe early 90s. He was a running back or maybe a fullback. I know he was in the backfield. And I just remember when seeing the highlights of this guy, when I remember watching the highlights, it almost looked unstoppable. I'm talking about the Nigerian Nightmare. Do you remember the name, the original name?
Well, he was Christian Okoye, but I don't remember. But he had another nickname.
No. It was Christian Okoye.
Oh, he was great. I still have nightmares.
Yeah, the Nigerian Nightmare. Now
that's a good one.
Now, if I was someone on the other team, I mean, not that I
was. He was a
probably,
big dude too.
Yeah, that guy was pretty hard to tackle back in his heyday when he was at his prime. The Nigerian Nightmare, man, that was a running back that if we play if my team that I rooted for, the San Francisco 49ers, it was like, man, I hope we don't play that guy because he looks like he can run over some fools. So,
and he did. He did.
And the nickname kind of instills that too, that kind of sense of fear a little bit. You know, I'm sure other players, he ain't nothing, he's just a nickname. But still, it's like as a fan,
it's a good one. It's one that we still remember.
Yeah.
It's been years since he set foot on the football field, and we still.
Yeah. He instills nightmares on people. So just the way he plays, because of the way he plays. So anyway, that's my second pick.
Good one. I am going with Evel Knievel. Now,
okay.
he got his nickname, like one of his little short stints in jail. He was with another guy, and I forget that dude's name, but it was like Evil and something else. But he didn't want to be too bad, so he changed the spelling. It's not even evil, E-V-I-L. It's E-V-E-L.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, he's the greatest stuntman of all time. Not that he was like the best. I mean, he broke probably every bone in his body. He just got ragdolled all the time when he was crashing. But when we were kids, come on, you wanted that Evel Knievel jump ramp. He was iconic. He had that red, white, and blue jumpsuit.
Right.
He's All-American. Was evil. He was great, man, and it's a good nickname. And what's his real name? You know his first name?
Josephus.
No, sorry. Robert. His name was Robert.
Robert.
Robert
I think
Craig.
Josephus was his middle name was Josephus.
I most like I didn't dig that deep and to get the research, but yes.
Okay.
Evil. His name is Evil, Knievel, and that's my number 2.
This is how twisted I am. I just like car racing. I usually watched his stunts just to see him like crash.
I think everybody watches like, is he gonna make this one? It's like,
yeah, that guy's crazy, man.
He got thrown, man. He took
and just to see his reaction after he crashed if he did not land at the landing. So
he's a tough dude, man.
Evil Knievel. Excellent. Okay. All right. So here is my next one. This is probably an obvious, almost given name to the greatest basketball player of all time, and I'm talking about Spud Webb. No, I'm talking about.
Hey, I like Spud.
no, Spud. Yeah, he's the man. Dunk champion. When was that? I forget what year it was. 86. Man, we're back in the days. But I'm going to go with, of course, Michael Air Jordan. And I mean, Air Jordan. I mean, just the logo, the Nike logo. I mean, him jumping. I mean, Air. And he lived up to just the way he dunked and all the feats that he's done throughout his career, either as a dunking champion or even in a regular basketball game. And what can you say? Just and the marketing just behind that whole. I want to be like, and the shoes, the Air Jordans. It's like people wanted to buy the shoes because they could think that if they wore the shoes, they could get as much hops as Michael Jordan. Michael Air Jordan. You talking about an iconic nickname, Air Jordan. I'm going with that for my 3rd nickname.
Yep. I will accept it.
If you weren't, I would have just.
I don't care if you do.
Right here, no more RIB forever.
All right. My next selection is Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He is.
And do not ask me his real name because I only know him.
No, I'm not gonna ask you his real name. I had to look it up. It was like Michael something, but it's Michael Peter Balzari.
Oh, I thought it was Barbosa.
But see, there you go. But see, that's a good nickname when you just know the nickname and like that's just the dude. You don't. That's his name, right? This is his real name. So that's the mark of a really good nickname. Flea. I don't think there's much that needs to be said about the dude. If you like him at Hot Chili Peppers, which I do, I'm a big fan. He's got energy. He's funky. He's a tremendous bass player. I know you play the bass. He's funky. He's a funky, awesome dude. He's got great energy. He's a character. He's been in a ton of movies. He's awesome. So
yeah. I do you know how he came?
I got his nickname. Yeah. So when he was a teenager, apparently, like it was a joke between his friends, but like he couldn't sit still.
Oh, okay.
He's like jumping around all the time, and it still fits because I've seen this dude. I've seen the Chili Peppers a bunch of times, and he's got energy for days, man. This dude's like close to 60. He's like, he's doing handstands. He's walking. He's awesome, man.
Right.
Dude rocks, man.
Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Excellent. All right.
Yes. Flea.
Okay. My next pick is going to be an obvious nickname. Came from the world of wrestling. The guy was called the Eighth Wonder of the World. That was one of his nicknames. He also appeared in a movie called Princess Bride, and he was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Fred Savage.
Yeah. Oh, man, how did you know that? No.
You Savage.
Yeah. Yeah. A guy by the name of Andre Rusimov, better known as Andre the Giant. And that guy was literally a giant, and unfortunately, because of his giantism or, of his disorder, he did not live very long, but But you talk about a guy that made a name in the industry and made the industry what it was. You know, a guy that big, and the guy was strong. And I've heard stories of his drinking.
Yeah. How he could drink and just he could do all kind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he would start off with like a 6-pack of beer, you know, and then you know, and like and a bottle of Hennessy, like a regular bottle of Hennessy,
and then he'd be the one drive everybody home.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be good, you know, and it's just like unbelievable how much that guy could eat and drink, you know. I mean, probably one day's worth of food for me. 1 week's worth of food for me would probably feed him for a day. You know,
he was a ginormous human being, but a gentle giant, apparently. Very, very kind.
Yes, very true. And I just kind of felt for him because of his big stature. You know, I mean, he said it himself. You know, the world is not built for big people. You know, when I get onto a plane, it's hard for me. You know, it's hard for me to sit in the seat. You know, and cars. I can't get into regular cars or sometimes beds. You know, the beds are too small. And there are people that made fun of him too. You know, when he was younger too. You know, they would. You know, it's that liquid courage to get into people. Oh, you ain't so giant. You know, they throw stuff at him, and and he would get mad. He would seriously get. I think there was one particular incident where he chased some guys into their car and he looked at their car, you know, and he turned it over.
Don't mess with Andre, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. You know, like it was nothing.
That guy was something.
Yeah,
and the eighth wonder of the world.
Yes, and I've always wanted to meet him. Unfortunately, I didn't. But real nice guy. But
he did meet the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, that's as close as I'm gonna get. Unfortunately, you know. So the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, the real giant. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Fitting nickname.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of basketball ones. We mentioned basketball. I didn't choose Magic Johnson. I didn't choose Wilt Still. I didn't choose Around Mountain Rebound, Chocolate Thunder. I didn't choose all of them. I went with my guy, Pistol Pete Maravich. Okay. So people may not know who he is. Pistol Pete was an awesome ball player in the 70s. My man got his nickname the way he used to shoot from the hip when he was a lot younger. This dude is the all-time leading NCAA Division I scoring. He averaged his entire collegiate career 44 points per game. The dude could score. The dude could shoot. The dude could pass. Pistol. I can't say enough about Pistol Pete Maravich. He was awesome. Kind of underrated. Definitely somebody you should know. If you haven't seen him, check him out. He's got YouTube video. He's got a VHS. It's called Homework Basketball. It's really funny actually because he's really aggressive in it, but he's like, do it. It's good. Yeah. Do it. It's good. And he was awesome, man. Pistol Pete Maravich.
Nice. Okay. Pistol Pete Maravich, basketball player. Very good. Okay, so my next is going to be another athlete. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm going to go with this athlete because when you think of these two words, you only think of one guy. And that nickname is Prime Time.
Prime Time.
Prime Time. If you're a huge sports fan, you know who I'm talking about. He also had another nickname, which was Neon. So he firstly went by Neon Deion Sanders. Okay,
it goes, but it's not as good as Prime Time.
Yeah, as good as Prime Time. Of course, I'm talking about Deion Sanders, man. And the guy, I hated him when he was with the Atlanta Falcons. Because he played for the Atlanta Falcons first, you know. He was flashy, you know, he liked to dance around. And then he joined the 49ers, and then he was cool.
And the thing is, you always hate the ones that are really good. You either hate the ones that are real jerks, or you hate the ones that are really good. In his case, he was really good.
He was, yeah, because he was good. He was, you know, they call his term the shutdown corner because if a quarterback had to throw that to that side of the field where he was at, now it was pretty much if he was there, we're shutting down that side of the field. We're trying to throw to the other side.
Yeah.
You know, and
rumor has it he wanted to use "He Hate Me," but it was taken already. So
I'm kind of glad that he didn't anyway.
and you're like, that's right. I do hate him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but man, when that guy when he intercepted the ball, or even if he was back in kick return, either a kickoff return or a punt return, watch out, because once he got his hands on the ball, that is almost, it was almost like you expected him to return it back from a touchdown.
I used to love it when somebody else would get the interception and then they'd lateral him the ball like he was going to take it out.
Another nickname, Toast. He was famous for doing that. That's our nickname for Tim McQueen. Yes. So prime time, Deion Sanders. That is my fifth one.
All right, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't like prime time in his prime either, but then when he, played for the Giants and for the Niners, I changed my tune a little bit.
Yeah.
So baseball, a lot of great baseball names. Say Hey Willie Mays, Hammer and Hank Aaron, Jumpin' Joe DiMaggio, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Will the Thrill Clark. I had to go with the only one you think of when it comes to nicknames, because, again, some people don't know his real name. Babe Ruth. George Herman Ruth. Some say the greatest baseball player of all time. Used to pitch, home run, just baseball destroyer. This guy is baseball. This guy was one of the first class to get inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I really don't need to say a lot about him. Even if you don't know baseball, you probably heard his name.
Yeah.
But so how he got his name too. He was signed really young, and his manager at the time, Jack Dunn, people would just say, "Oh, that's one of Jack Dunn's babes." It's one of those, like, he was a babe in the woods. He's a young guy. And it just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So he was the young dude, and Babe Ruth. So.
I enjoy paydays more than Babe Ruth's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually do agree.
Yeah. Okay. Babe Ruth. Okay. Very well known. Very good pick there. Okay. I'm going to give a couple, since we have some time, honorable mentions here. I'm going to go the movie star route. This guy was big in the 60s and 70s. One of my favorite actors back in the day. He starred in, was it Towering Inferno? Also The Sand Pebbles. Okay. Also The Great Escape. And Papillon. And, of course, our favorite, Bullet. His name is Steve McQueen. And back in the 70s, he was known as the King of Cool. And he liked to do his own kind of driving stunts. There's a famous scene in The Great Escape where he's on a motorcycle and he's motorcycling through the hills, and then he does this jump off of one of the hills that he said, "I'm going to do that." I'm doing that by myself. Yeah. He
was cool too.
Yeah.
He was the epitome of dude cool.
When I think. Just never as a movie star been associated with a car, or vice versa, a car associated with a movie star than Steve McQueen in the 68 Ford Fastback, which you used to own, by the way. Not the actual car.
Not the actual car, no. And mine wasn't the 390 GT. Mine was the 302 automatic. So anyway, which I don't have anymore.
What happens when you don't change the oil? Yeah. At least you didn't have it. Well, no, you had a Pintang, the Mustang 2.
The Mustang.
The Musto.
The Pintang.
But an actor back in the day where they call it the man's man. A guy who you wanted to hang around with. A guy that you wished to be that guy because he was just smooth, he was cool, he was suave.
So even today, if he has owned a car or connected with a car and it goes to auction, that thing like triples in value from what like the Ferrari. It would be normal Ferrari would be like 250,000. Oh, this thing's like $1 million, 2.4. It's because he touched it, because he has an association with it. Everybody wants to touch up greatness.
And in that movie Bullet, he's the one that drove. Like in most of those,
he drove the car. Yeah,
he drove the car. They said you can tell it was him that drove the car because you could see his reflection in the rearview mirror. And the times where it wasn't him, you didn't see his face in the rearview mirror. So, so Steve McQueen for me, and also My next one is going to be going back to football from the 1985 Chicago Bears, the very iconic defensive lineman, sometimes backfield runner, William the Refrigerator Perry. You talk about a nickname that fits the personality and the size of the guy, the refrigerator. Way back in the days in 85, 86, when you talked about the refrigerator, you talked about the food in there or the football player. So William the Refrigerator Perry. Those are my two
honorable mentions. Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a WWF guy. I'm going to go with The Rock. You smell jabroni. So yeah. So The Rock. The Rock. I'll be honest. When WWF, WWE, when he came around, I wasn't really watching a lot of wrestling, and he made me watch wrestling again. The dude was charismatic. He was. You all right, man?
No, I just like, you smell
jabroni. He didn't really say it like, he was like, took it straight up, jabroni. Anyway, so the Rock, from the Bay Area originally too, from Hayward. So I love him. His grandfather wrestled. His father wrestled. He took the name Rock from his father, Rocky Johnson, who took his name from Rocky Marciano and Jack Johnson, not the singer, but the heavyweight, both heavyweight fighters. And anyway, The Rock's awesome. I don't need to say anything about The Rock. Everybody knows The Rock. He's in everything. I think he was in Little Women, the last one. He's in everything. The Rock is in everything. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with The Rock. He's awesome. And I'm going with the Duke, John Wayne.
Oh, okay.
John Wayne, going with a Western. John Wayne, he's the greatest Western. I mean, Clint Eastwood was good. There's a lot of guys, but John Wayne was the guy. And then talk about cool. There's dudes who wanted to be John Wayne.
Yeah.
So before Steve McQueen, before that, they're John Wayne. They wanted to be that. He wanted to be that guy. He was the Duke. He got his name. He had his name from his dog, actually. Sort of like Indiana Jones. His dog was named Duke, and he used to like walk around, and he never went anywhere without his Great Dane. I think it was a Great Dane. No, it was Airedale. It was Airedale. And his name was Duke. And they called him Little Duke, and then Duke stuck. He liked his name was Marion. So he liked Duke better than Marion. So
we named the dog Indiana.
Named the dog Indiana. Yes.
Only the penetrative man with Posh. I don't know. When it comes to Westerns, I'm a Clint Eastwood guy more than a John Wayne. But
well, because you know why? Clint Eastwood, we had more experience with Clint Eastwood, but I'm just saying, you ask any old timer, they're gonna tell you, Clint Eastwood. They're gonna tell you it was all about John Wayne.
Yeah, it's a subject for another show that.
There's a this or that where I'm like, John Wayne or Little Wayne. Tell me now. Boom, go.
Wayne Walker. No, okay. So reviewing our nicknames, our favorite nicknames. Mine first was the Master of Disaster, given the nickname of Apollo Creed, a fictional character in the movie Rocky. My next one was a football player by the name of Christian Okoye. His nickname was the Nigerian Nightmare. And then I went with Andre the Giant, actual real name, Andre Roussimoff from the WWE. Also, Primetime, Deion Sanders. Man, you're talking about a flashy, showy player that could back up his talk and can cover a wide receiver, even the best of them. He was my guy. Michael Air Jordan, that was my other one, too, for, what more else? What can you say? No explanation needed. And then my two honorary mentions was, what was it? Oh, the King of Cool, Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen.
Movie star. And William the Refrigerator Perry from the Chicago Bears, NFL player.
Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't remember how it goes. Can you wrap it, please?
I'm not singing and I'm not dancing, Roy. This is not the singing and dancing show. So, Roy, do you hate me? No. He Hate Me was my first. Terrell Deshaun Smart, Rod Smart. He hate me. One season in the XFL, a name to remember. Evel Knievel, greatest stuntman ever. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Funky man. Pistol Pete Maravich. If you haven't seen him, look him up. The dude was white chocolate before white chocolate.
Okay.
Babe Ruth. Some say the greatest baseball player of all time. Definitely the most recognizable sports nickname.
Right.
Honorable mentions: The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and the Duke, John Wayne, man's man, Western. I think Roy doesn't like him like he doesn't like Spider-Man. So.
He's all right. All right. Anyway, so so that was
Jabroni.
If you smell jabroni, that's how you said it, and that's
Just two of his phrases and used them.
just cracking up. They're just, oh man. Okay, anyway, that's our top nickname. Of course, there's a whole lot more, but those are ones that at least came off the top of our head.
Yeah.
If you have your favorite nicknames, make sure you comment them in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions or any comments, criticisms, or once again suggestions on a specific topic that you would like us to discuss,
ingredient.
Comment section. If exactly you want us to know what ingredient you want us to talk about next. All right, sir. Good one. We will see you at the next RIB.
RIB.
Rib time. Right on. Everyone have a good night.
Easy.
Yeah.